What is happening, everybody? Welcome to our May Live Hangout, uh, where we're going to be talking about the Mortal Kombat franchise. How's everybody doing tonight? Gonna make sure real quick that this audio is okay. Hey, there we go. We are batting 1,000 right now. Look at that. Oh, so again, welcome one and all to our May Live Hangout. This month we are talking about the Mortal Kombat film franchise, as well as giving our takes on the new Mortal Kombat 2, which is why we haven't done any reviews for it yet. This, even though it came out a little earlier this month. But yeah, this is our May Live Hangout. We do these every single month. Last month we did Mad Max Knockoffs Volume 2. That was an absolute blast. And so, really glad for you to join us for this month. And if you say to yourself, I enjoyed their once a month videos, but I wish there was a way I could check out what they're talking about every single week. Well, the good news is you can, because we have weekly reviews that go up every Sundays. And then we also have our post theater clarity, which is a video format that Nick does where he gives you the hottest and freshest takes straight from the theater. I think ironically enough, the last couple of movies we've both done our versions of our reviews of it, which I love, because we don't plan that stuff. But those have been highly praised of the last couple of movies, so it's been a pretty good year in movies so far, for at least what we've seen.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
how's everybody doing tonight? And who's ready to talk about Mortal Kombat? Welcome. So yeah, like I said, every single week we have new videos that go up, and then every month we do these live streams. I want to tell you right now, if this is your first time here, make sure you are subscribing, clicking the bell, clicking the like button, appeasing all of the YouTube algorithms. Right now, we are sitting at 71 subscribers, Nick. We're
In
29
there.
away. 29 away from our goal for this year of triple digits. We haven't discussed what we'll do, but I'm sure if we hit triple digits, we'll do something fun and special. So you please help us get to that by sharing and commenting and getting it boosted that way, and then letting your friends know that, hey, you want to come hang out with some cool friends. Oh my god, don't do that. Love
Yes.
talking about
Yeah.
movies. That's the place to be. With that, how's it going?
It's been a long day. I was telling you earlier, I had to be at work 2 hours earlier than usual. I'm usually at work at 6. Today I was at work at 4. It was a party. Uh, been a long day, but that's okay. I am here. I'm ready to talk about Mortal Kombat. And to add on to something you said, man, it has been a banger of a year for movies thus far. We've sorry, that caught me off guard. I've had so many great experiences going to the movie theater this year. It's been a nice change. Last year was okay with the movies, but what did nothing. It didn't blow me away for the most part. Nothing was so impressive. But this year, I keep on seeing impressive movie after impressive movie, or which I then go share and post theater clarity. And there's more I'm seeing at home that are coming out. That I might have to cheat and do a review, for the home releases, because I've I've seen some uh pretty great ones. Like it's a little bit of a sappy movie, but a movie I watched called Remarkably Bright Creatures with Sally Field and Bill Pullman's son, whose name escapes me. It is such a heartwarming, extremely well done movie. I enjoyed it. It's a kind of movie you could watch with your mom and talk about the old days. I'm getting old because I'm appreciating movies like that. But man, 2026 is just on fire with movies. The post theater clarity this this week for Obsession, which was just an extremely impressive movie. You can go watch that post theater clarity. My wife joined me for it. Um, and even some of the more popcorn movies like Super Mario Galaxy are still really enjoyable. But I mean, uh, we're getting so many great ones. And the thing is, we're not even to the summer blockbuster season yet, and we have Dune 3 and Godzilla minus zero later on this year. So I am so excited for movies this year. Also excited for we have some great episodes coming up. Next month we are conquering Walter Hill. Uh, my wife, she's going to get a break from a lot of the B movies, and we're going to see some real quality movies, which she'll be glad because man, I subject her to a lot of really cheesy stuff and a lot of bullshit, and she is a fantastic sport about it. I love her to death. She'll watch things like Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins with me, which will come up a little later. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, doing good. Keep holding on to that as long as you can, because eventually you're, or at least with my wife, she just goes, "No, thank you." So she hasn't watched a lot with me. She did watch Obsession. She hadn't planned. She didn't plan on it, but she found her way there. She even came out and watched Mortal Kombat 2 with me. But usually it's kind of hard to get her to watch all the, especially like something when we did the Mad Max knockoff. She was like, "Nah, it's okay. I'm fine." But yeah, I kind of like you. Walter, this next month, spoilers, we're doing the Walter Hill. There's some there's some banger movies I'm excited to talk about.
I I am I love the Warriors. I haven't seen the Warriors in a long time. Um, I've never watched Streets of Fire, and for it to be kind of this rock action musical, I am pumped to watch Streets of Fire. Southern comfort, good old sweaty Southern action thriller in the swamp, and more. I'm pumped. I think that episode is going to make for some excellent conversation, as this will, because Mortal Kombat is such an iconic part of our childhood, people in our generation. Uh,
That's right. That's right. And we should preface. Uh, we are covering the live action with a little bit of an exception, the live action franchise, because I know there have been I don't know how many cartoon films.
there's been several, and I didn't realize that until looking on HBO Max how many there are. They look entertaining. That was going to be a bit of a tall order watching all of those as well. Decided to keep it a little more concise, and we're doing Mortal Kombat Annihilation from '97, the Mortal Kombat 2021, Mortal Kombat from this year, and throw in something a little special, the animated movie from the mid 90s, Mortal Kombat The Journey Begins. And I use movie loosely. It's kind of a short, incredibly poorly rendered CGI cartoon to get you hyped up for the movie. The
We had
1995 movie, that is.
Yeah, we had originally planned on doing Mortal Kombat Legacy, the short-lived internet series. Turns out there's a reason it was a short-lived internet series, and not even Michael Jai White himself could save us from that. Pivoting off of that,
I watched a few episodes. See if I can. Um, my wife, Bree, lovely woman she is, like drawing out the titles for me for the movies. Uh, He does it in a fun and festive way. What did she write for Mortal Kombat Legacy? I didn't write these, so she said, "Not great, extra cheesy, and too choppy and fast paced." I think she's being generous. I was bored to tears. I don't want to subject you all to that. So instead, we're substituting the shorter and honestly more entertaining Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins, a straight to VHS promotional CGI written cartoon from 1995. Because Mortal Kombat Legacy just did not do it for me. Yep, I knew it. Logan's here.
Yeah. Just in time. Surprise, we're only talking about alligators. Uh, oh, that's sweet. I'm okay. I'm a very understanding. I get it. So with that, do we want to start with the actual 1995 film itself? Or do
Yeah,
you want to, in fact, start where the journey begins?
you know what? We could go chronologically in order and get started with Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins. So, the 90s was a magical time. Promotional VHSs that you could sell to kids cheaply were all the rage. Like, I remember at Pizza Hut getting some of the X-Men cartoons on VHS, which you went in there and ordered a pizza, you could get this VHS with literally one and a half X-Men cartoons on it. I still have that to this day, uh, which is kind of jarring when I first watched it because, it cuts off mid-episode, but whatever. uh Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins is that kind of thing. It showed up in the back of magazines. It showed up at the beginning of certain movies and gave you the information for ordering this high-tech cartoon for the low price of $9.95. And I can imagine being a kid in the mid 90s and running across this. I don't remember this myself, but seeing this ad to be like, I can get more Mortal Kombat Insanity and VHS for less than $10. Sign me up. I mean, how could they do it that cheaply? And you watch the cartoon and figure out, I know how they did it that cheaply. Uh, so this was kind of framed as being a prequel to the movie. It's not a prequel to the movie. It actually kind of just retells the beginning part of the movie in a weirder, choppier way, with a combination of crappy 2D hand drawn art and mid 90s low budget CGI. We're not, I mean, this stuff makes the last Starfighter CGI from the mid 80s look just absolutely primo. This is crap. This cartoon is rendered utter crap. It's choppy. It's terrible looking. Can't lie, kind of entertaining because you follow Liu Kang and Johnny Cage, who apparently don't own shirts in this universe. Johnny Cage is rocking the sunglasses the whole time, and Sonya Blade on their boat ride to the island, and them arriving to the island while a narrator explains what's going on. I think the cartoon portion of this, the whole running time is like 56 minutes, but a lot of that is taken up by character bios and advertisements and some behind the scenes stuff. So I think the actual cartoon might be 25 minutes long. And it's literally just telling you part like a very short version of a part of the movie. Uh but with just the characters look more, I'd say, video game accurate, but they look terrible. Like at one point, Shang Tsung's in it, and Shang Tsung looks different depending what part of the cartoon it is. Shang Tsung has no eyes. Like they did to render eyes in him for part of the scene. It's like, okay, that's extremely distracting. Uh and it's just it is just the crappiest 90s cartoon. It is. Um Sonya Blade looks very masculine. The outfits spot on though. I will give him that. Sub-Zero and Scorpion inexplicably have like cat ears poking out of their ninja masks for reasons. And it was thinking of Scorpion who has a spike coming out of his wrist to grab somebody and say, "Get over here." Well, they made this for the kids, so his spike just kind of wraps around them and tugs it back. So, um, and Goro's rocking a fabulous cape through a lot of this. And it's funny, they'll have montages of the characters like training and they're just kind of waving around their arms in the scene because they couldn't bother to actually animate much. Uh, this is crap, but this is kind of hilarious 90s throwback crap. What did you think?
So, first, like you, I remember the VHS like toy tie-ins. I still own some. I own two because they did it twice with the California Raisins VHSs. And probably the best out of all of these from the 90s, the Swamp Thing pilot episode of what was going to be the Swamp Thing cartoon,
Yes.
which is intro alone, Swamp Thing sung to Wild Thing. Mwah. This I did not know about. I remembered the Mortal Kombat cartoon on USA. It was when you
Yes.
brought this
Yes.
up, but I was like, no, I didn't know there was a movie. I was like, oh, so I found it on YouTube, and yeah, I was like 45 minutes, and it's the first minutes are just telling you about Mortal Kombat and about this tape and about what you all the cool things you can get with Mortal Kombat. Because I think timeline wise, isn't it Mortal Kombat 3 had just come out or was coming out right around this time?
We're around that time period where 3 was dropping, I believe. I think you're right. It would have been about 95, 96 when that happened. So we're closing in on it. I think just shortly before it dropped.
So I did not take a lot of notes for this. I did write, like you, why do Scorpion and Sub Zero have tiny Batman ears? um, and then how is the CGI in this worse than Lawnmower Man from 1992? And then I got to thinking about a cartoon. I know when you think about CGI cartoons, everybody goes to like something like Reboot. For me, it was the New Adventures of Johnny Quest, where for
Yes.
whatever reason, at the very end of every episode, they had to go into the digital world, and you got CG Johnny Quest. And that looks like I don't know Star Wars compared to this cartoon. Um, my main problem is, like you said, it's a 45-minute thing. Only 25 minutes of it is actually a cartoon. Why is it the idea for the best plan for this kids cartoon was 25 minutes of just nonstop narration? Because Raiden won't shut the fuck up through this entire cartoon.
Yes, you got Raiden. And admittedly, video game accurate looking Raiden. As much as I love Christopher Lambert, he wasn't that terribly faithful. Uh, but yeah, he just wasn't shut up. He's having to explain everything in ridiculous detail to you. Um, and it's just like, okay, so it's not really telling you a story of the characters. It's like, here's characters waving their arms around. Here's what's going on. Uh, yeah, not great. But there was somebody in the movie. Shang Tsung sounded so familiar.
Yeah,
I was like, man, who is that guy? His name's Jim Cummins, who voiced tons of cartoons, most
everything.
famously Winnie the Pooh. This dude voiced Winnie the Pooh a lot. But here in this movie, he's voicing Shang Tsung, a magical sorcerer who sucks out people's souls. Uh, and I mean, I'm pretty sure Jim Cummins did a lot of movie trailers back in the 90s, and he did all sorts of voice work. And somehow they kidnapped his family or used dental torture or something to force him to voice Shang Tsung in this utter pile of a movie.
Yeah. Well, he was just like, you
But
know
hey,
what? That golden toilet's not gonna buy itself.
yes, he probably cashed a large check for a very tiny amount of work and probably had fun doing it. I can't blame him. Uh, I will say this though, if it was the 90s and I laid out and I was, 10 or 11-year-old me laid out 9.99 for this VHS, I I would have gotten all Mortal Kombat on my TV and thrown it at it because this is such a bait and switch. But
Yeah.
I mean, this happens so much when we were younger of promising great things, and you're like, oh man, that price is great, and not delivering.
No,
Happened a lot with a lot of children's content back in the 80s and 90s, and this is no exception. This is such a shameless cash grab.
yeah, no, I begged my parents for a lot of garbage back then, but I feel like had this been one of them, I would have gotten onto them and be like, you should know better.
Like, come on. Uh, But hey, it's a fun little time capsule of the 90s, and it's a short watch, and it's just crap. But I said it's kind of hilariously crappy. So I don't regret watching, especially since it was free on YouTube, and it's a throwback.
Yeah.
It's a throwback. Uh, but I think we set it up about Mortal Kombat. The journey begins, and we can actually get this journey beginning onto the main show. Mortal Kombat from 1995, a iconic movie from our youth, directed by Paul Anderson. And if people are going to remember anything from this movie, most people are going to remember the banger of the soundtrack to this amazing movie, including the song which names off the roster of fighters. And if you went and played laser tag in the late 90s, you're going to hear some songs from the Mortal Kombat soundtrack, because this soundtrack is a flippin' banger. Um, for me, it's just like we're the right age for this movie to hold a lot of importance for us. Mortal Kombat was such an important game. Uh, you know, was such an it was such a mind-blowing game when it dropped in 1992 for having, these fatalities where people got their heads ripped off or burns into skeletons. Uh, you know, they did all these crazy moves. It was dark, it was grim, there was blood. Some of the characters were monstrous. It really captured our imaginations and made our parents worry, because this is one of two movie video games that led to the ERSB,
ERSB, yep.
basically the rating system for video games. The other one being Night Trap, which has kind of been a footnote in the video game history, while Mortal Kombat has continued on. Um, by this point, I had been banned from playing the Mortal Kombat arcade game due to the violence, which is kind of funny in retrospect, looking at the graphics, that parents like, oh no, that's too violent. But which was why I was surprised when in 1995, my dad saw the making of Mortal Kombat promoting the movie, and he's like, hey, let's go watch Mortal Kombat. So we drove our happy asses over to Altus, and made a 10-year-old me very happy because we watched 1995's Mortal Kombat, which is an awesome movie. Plot, well, once in a generation, there is a tournament in which the Earth realm, planet Earth, has to enter a tournament against another realm called Outworld, led by the villainous Shao Kahn, uh, and his evil sorcerer General Shang Tsung. They meet on this mystical island, and antics ensue, and a lot of fightings and a lot of gruesome deaths. Uh, if Earthrealm loses 10 Mortal Kombat tournaments in a row, they fall and are taken over by Outworld. Well, this is the 10th tournament, and so we enter in, and we have a cast of characters: Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, an actor; Sonya Blade, a cop; uh, Ray. It's Raiden. Well, Raiden's not really a fighter in this movie. He's there. Uh, Kano, who's inexplicably not fighting for Earthrealm. So, and many others, and it's like a lot of nameless martial artists, and a few who are kind of briefly touched on. And these people who are martial arts champions or actors or whatnot, fighting literal monsters from another dimension that have all manner of wild magical powers, or are 8-foot tall monsters with 4 arms. Also, I never got a good feel for what exactly the rules are for this, because you can use magical powers and weapons, I guess, but people both show up and like, I'm gonna do karate on this guy who's a demonic skeleton that breathes fire. It may sound like I'm being hard in this movie. This movie's flipping awesome. The soundtrack, the fight scenes, the settings, They did this. This is the movie that set the standard for what a video game adaptation should be. It is ridiculous. It's absurd, and it's a completely awesome ride. I have seen this movie so many times. Watching it again, I still love this movie. It is such a blast. It is so much fun. What do you think?
So this is a movie. Yeah, like you said, this is peak childhood. I have two stories to just to go back how from child not from childhood, but how two very funny, somewhat sad, that evolve around this Mortal Kombat movie, because this movie has followed me since 1995. Like you, I didn't grow up with the game. Um, our first system was a Super Nintendo, and we certainly weren't getting Mortal Kombat. We were too busy Donkey Kong Country in. But this movie was everywhere, and this is my first taste of it. Um, this is, in fact, spoilers for this entire live. This is the only one of these movies that technically portrays a fighting tournament, which I found incredibly insane, because it is. It's Enter the Dragon with superhumans, and I do love that there's just like a smoke 'em if you got 'em rule when it comes to what superpowers and who doesn't. Um, but so this movie, it comes out. It's a huge, we have it on VHS. I watched it a million times as a kid. It's DVD. So I remember it's one of the first DVDs I bought. It was one of those stupid click, flip open or
Oh,
DVD cases.
yeah, those
Snap.
things were terrible.
Um, Two stories, and one of them is more embarrassing than the other. When I went to college, my roommate. Um, we agreed upon the fact that if we were ever having company of the female persuasion over to the dorm room, we wouldn't do the traditional sock or tie on the door. We were going to be playing the Mortal Kombat song.
That is amazing.
I will go ahead and tell you right now, there was not a whole lot of Mortal Kombat song being played in that dorm room. But then, so my other Mortal Kombat story, which is somehow less embarrassing, is that same year, same semester of college. I come back from visiting my parents. I got movies in the car that I'm taking to my dorm room. I go over to our friend Lee's house, and him and his fiance at the time, Selene. They're getting ready to watch The Notebook, and they're like, "You should totally watch this movie with us." And I was like, I don't do that kind of movies." Now, as I say that, we're gonna watch The Notebook. Let me set the stage. This is the day after Valentine's Day, and I and my high school girlfriend broke up in January. So this is where young 19-year-old, 18, 19-year-old Jason is at. We watched The Notebook. The dust pollen in their house is atrocious because Lee and I were both just allergically crying our eyes out. And he was like, we gotta watch something. We gotta stop this. And I was like, I know, let me go get it out of the truck. And what did I bring in but my DVD copy of Mortal Kombat to toughen us up after watching The Notebook? So what I'm saying is this movie is versatile. I love this movie. I know Emma and I rewatched it. I agree with Logan. I think Christopher Lambert, while not game accurate or even kind of somewhat like appropriate, he's my favorite part of this movie. I love him as Raiden just walking around going this is You have Lyndon Ashby, who sadly never like. You're always kind of like I always like. Whatever happened to the guy who played Johnny Cage? Um, Veronica Vaughn is in this movie.
Yes. Uh,
And I,
who,
I
who,
heard tell her and Goro got it on.
um, who I will say, it's just like she kind of looks the part, but it's clear that she has no fighting or martial arts skill whatsoever. And I remember watching it back the day and seeing her fight with Kano, and it's like, yeah, clearly she's just took a few karate classes at the Y and came in and did this. I could excuse it, because they keep everything to do with her fighting mercifully short. But said she looks the part. But I will say, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I think they got somebody who could perform the part better.
Yeah,
That's a story for the next review.
I like Bridget Wilson Sampras. She in this, but it's just between her face and the way they have written Sonya in this movie. If you don't believe any other thing in this movie, you believe that she does not want to be there.
No,
She is not having Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. It's like she's kind of tricked into going to the Mortal Kombat tournament. And she's like, I have had enough of this mystical bullshit.
And we have to talk about the greatest and saddest moment in the movie, and that is when we lose the great Mortal Kombat character Art, who is the random guy who gets murdered by Goro, where they're like, "We're gonna avenge Art," and you're like, "What? Like, well, that couldn't have been Jax. That couldn't have been anybody. It's just." And that guy plays. He's in the movie a lot, and he's just Art. And I watched it on this time. It's just like, who? Why did they not make that guy anybody? I love the Goro Ninja Turtle puppet. I think it looks fantastic. Um, even what's his name? The guy who plays uh, Liu Kang with
Robin
his like
Shu.
his hair is out of control in this movie.
Amazing.
It's so puffy. It's so puffy. It's just from my childhood. If we were to ever do like a top 10 like video game adaptation movies, this is easily top 5. I could argue top 3. I love Mortal Kombat, flaws and all.
I would say definitely top 3 for me. It's the one that sets it set the standard. This is what it can be. Video game adaptations in the 90s were mostly crap. I'll be honest, they're still mostly crap, although they've gotten better. But Mortal Kombat 95 is a banger. Gotta add on something you said. That Goro puppet. No CGI used. They built a gigantic 7.5 foot, 8 foot tall forearm Goro puppet, and it looks amazing. It is such a cool practical effects creation, and you buy it. I love how it moves. Just like with any kind of real practical effect, it's more tangible and people are interacting with it, and it adds something.
Which is good because the some of the CGI in 1995 was questionable. Let me tell you what, 4K does not help. I mean, we all knew Reptile was bad, but like even them being inserted into like CG locations is rough.
It does not look good. I like a Reptile and his more lizard-like form is all CGI and looked cool in 95. Does not look great. 90s CGI for the most part, it just aged so poorly, but I can overlook it, and it's kind of part of the charm here.
Yeah.
I'm really glad they did Goro practically and not with CGI. And man, I'm with you. Christopher Lambert is so entertaining in this movie. He looks like he had a blast doing this role. He's there to talk and kind of guide them through this. I remember watching it, really wishing we got to see him fight some more because he was my favorite character in the original Mortal Kombat game. But just his presence adds a lot and a lot of humor. So many scenes. It's a shame they couldn't get him back for Annihilation. That would definitely improved Annihilation. Again, we'll talk about that soon. Uh, Ask though, what's your favorite fight from this movie?
Oh gosh. I will say this: knowing what we know now about Christopher Lambert's eyesight since like early adulthood, the last thing I needed that guy to be doing was hand to hand combat. um, I mean, it's got to be the. I mean, it's got to be the fight at the end because you have two guys who. I mean, Lyndon Ashley's good. Him and the Scorpion fight's fun. I really wanted more of the Sub Zero because I love Sub Zero. I wanted more out of that fight, but I gotta give it to the Shang Tsung, um, Liu Kang fight at the end. I love, they're both like giving it their all. You got the spikes coming out of the strategically placed Mortal Kombat emblem. Um, but yeah, no, that one's probably my favorite.
You know, growing up, for most of my life, it has been the Scorpion Johnny Cage fight, which is
Mhm.
awesome. It starts out in the woods, and you get to see Scorpion's hand spike, which is probably the best CGI in the movie, and it still looks fairly cool. Descending into the nether realm, and the fight continues and ends in a wild fashion. Love it. The one that I really enjoyed the most this time around, one I forgot how good it was Liu Kang versus Reptile.
Yeah,
Uh, when they find an Outworld, because it is a knockdown, drag out fight where they are going back and forth. Two martial artists going at it, knocking each other through walls. You get Liu Kang's iconic flying kick he does, and really fun fight. Some of the fights are very abbreviated. I forgot just how short a lot of them are, but that one they really went all out with. Easily Shang Tsung, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage versus Scorpion, and Liu Kang versus Reptile are the three standout fights of this movie.
yeah.
Uh, and man, what a beautiful location they filmed at. This island seems like the kind of place that a mystical tournament would be held at. Uh, I Scenery, everything. This is such a fun movie. It is such a well-paced movie. And I Robin Shu's Liu Kang was such fantastic casting. It is a real shame that Robin Shu and his fabulous hair never really broke out and did a whole lot. I think I think there was a lot of hope that with his look and with his head this big, he would go on and be a star, and it never materialized, and that's a shame.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of fell like because right around that time is kind of like when Jason Scott Lee did the Bruce Lee movie, and kind of like right, he just came in just a little too late.
He did.
Yeah,
Had he
he's one of the best parts of the both movies that he's in.
had he hit 5 or 10 years earlier, I think he could have had a very different career trajectory. Uh, the character of Liu Kang seems like it was almost, you know, Jason Scott Lee. I could have definitely seen him in this role, and I think he would have done well. But Robin Shu's Liu Kang was just awesome.
Although,
Uh,
my God, wear a tank top that fits or don't wear one. Why are you wearing a
yeah,
loose fitting tank top?
it's kind of seems like it's not an ideal fighting uniform.
Yeah.
Uh, which is something Tommy, uh, said about New Line Cinemas, what we always associate it with. This is the movie I associate with New Line Cinemas every time because you see the New Line Cinemas logos and the Mortal Kombat theme song starts playing. Anytime I see that logo, and man, we've seen it a lot for a long period of time, that music plays in my head.
You,
This is to me the New Line Cinema movie.
but I do associate when you, especially with Elm Street, because Elm Street was the old, especially with the first Nightmare, that old New Line logo, like the flickering. But honestly, we could do an episode because thinking about it, like New Line was like the studio of our childhood.
It really was. There's so much, so much that we watched. Uh, you know, so many great genre movies. They took risks on things. They put out some really cool action-packed stuff and a lot of really cool horror. Thank you, New Line, for making our childhood so memorable and making movies to this day we still enjoy. If you haven't seen Mortal Kombat, watch it. It's a fun time capsule from the mid '90s and just a labor of love that so much creativity went into it. And if you ever need to get pumped up on the way to work, throw on this soundtrack. You will not be disappointed. So, Mortal Kombat 95 ends on a cliffhanger, and with the success, of course, they were going to make a sequel. And it was followed up a few years later with 1997's Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And if we're wrapped up talking about Mortal Kombat 95, do you want to take it away with Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
Yeah, I'm really glad that we were able to give New Line their flowers. Because what the fuck was this? This rewatching this movie, Mortal Kombat Annihilation from '97. Um, you get a different director now. This is John R. Leonetti, the guy who directed the first Annabelle. So quality. Uh, and it's Robin Show and everybody else who wasn't in the first one. It's like him and Katana are the only two that came back, and I don't know what. Again, talking about like kidnapping somebody's family and forcing them to be in a movie. I don't know what they had on that guy because um, we lose we lose Christopher Lambert for James Remar, who I like in a lot of stuff, but to go from Christopher Lambert right into an even goofier white guy choice to play Raiden. Uh, Sandra Hess is now Sonya Blade, and you do get Brian Thompson as Shao Kahn, and this is a direct sequel. Also, you could also refer to it as either Mortal Kombat Annihilation or Terrible Decisions, the movie. So we have again, it's me sequel to Shao Kahn. It says, "Hey, I saw you guys won, but fuck that. I want Earth." And so forget the tournament that is how this is decided. We're just gonna start taking over, which kind of makes the whole movie moot. Now there's a lot going on in this movie. A lot of
Yes,
decisions were
there
made.
is.
Here are some of the most notable insane decisions. Uh, Raiden uh, has to have his hair cut to become human, and so he cuts his long white hair into the goofiest blonde flat top. And then they put him in these clothes. He looks like he's wearing his older brother's vest. Because James Remar is not built as a ninja warrior. He's
No.
built like your granddad, even though he was like maybe in his 40s. Um, you have the classic 90s trope of, that character you love because of how badass he looks in that helmet. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first 5 minutes because he's taking it off and he's never wearing it again. Because you get Shao Kahn in a not a great helmet, but a decent Shao Kahn helmet, and then for the rest of the movie, it's just bald Brian Thompson walking around. The dialogue in this movie is atrocious. The effects. This movie somehow cost $12 million more than the first movie.
I don't understand how.
No, because we weren't paying we weren't paying the actors to return.
No.
There is Liu Kang's hair, he's tamed the beast a little bit. Uh, you get characters who are like, oh, you get Centauro and Shiva, Lady
Yes.
Goro, who do absolutely nothing in this movie. My favorite part of Centauro is the fact that it's fucking Malibu from American Gladiators.
Mo- correction, Motaro, by the way.
Motaro, I'm sorry. Who is a
Centauro makes
centaur?
more sense, but yes,
Motaro.
Motaro the centaur.
Um, and then it's just there's so much just walking around. We bring in Jax. We give him the arms just so he can take him off because it turns out the Cowardly Lion had courage all along. We send Liu Kang to go meet Nightwolf, who is just like, yeah, man, you got to turn into an animal. All right, later, movie. Um, you do get a Sonya. Is it Sonya and who is it? It's not Jade. Who is it? Sonya. There's a randomly girl on girl mud fight. Cause yeah, baby. Uh, which honestly, it might be one of the best fights in the movie.
It's Sandra Hess, who plays Sonya Blade. She actually has some martial arts background, and I think she looks the part better.
Yeah,
Uh, I think she's an improvement. I mean, her acting isn't great, but in looks and like fight performance, I think she did a better job.
yeah,
Uh, you should have played in the original, in my opinion. You know,
yeah.
that's one of the few upgrades that Mortal Kombat Annihilation had.
You'll notice I forgot to mention Johnny Cage because they killed that character instantly. Um,
Oh man, and it's not Lyndon Ashby, but I can't
no,
lie, it's a guy who pretty closely resembles Lyndon Ashby. Um, I remember. Do you remember the first time we watched this movie?
yep, yep,
Your birthday party. We are staying the
yeah,
night, and you were
yep,
like, "We're watching Mortal Kombat Annihilation's." Like, oh no, we want to do that, and we did. The disappointment of the movie starting and Johnny Cage immediately getting killed. He does the iconic shadow kick and is immediately killed like 2 minutes into the movie.
yeah. It's again, it's just baffling decisions. You have, and I even got to the part where like there's, it kind of becomes the plot of Judge Dredd, where there's one of the elder gods like an inside job, like Jurgen Prochnow in Judge Dredd. And speaking of taking your helmet off, and then we get to it, the final fight, and it's an animality fight, and you get what is essentially the worst kaiju movie in the history of kaiju movies, with just this terrible CGI of it's CGI that looks like bad stop motion. But at least if it had been bad stop motion, you would have loved it because at least it was something. Uh, and then you find out Shao Kahn and Raiden are brothers, and then their dad gets put in the Phantom Zone by the other gods, and then the movie was just like, have you had enough? Because we're gonna wrap this up, and then it ends. And I'm gonna say this on the Pawn rewatch, this movie is utterly terrible, and yet I really enjoyed this last rewatch.
Uh, this movie declined in quality in almost every category dramatically over Mortal Kombat. Uh, it's worse in almost every way, said except for Sonya Blade. In terms of the cast, in terms of just like it looks so much cheaper all around. The CGI is worse. There's even less plot somehow. Uh, and man, they are the main goal of this movie seems to be to throw as many characters at you as they possibly can, whether or not they actually use them. Like Shiva, who's like, oh, we have Girl Goro. Maybe we'll see something that does nothing with her. Uh, but You get some of the characters are displayed pretty cool, like Cyrax. I believe he's the yellow cyborg
Hmm.
comes in tossing bombs out of his chest. Uh, Controversial. I really like Bataro this movie. I think Bataro was an underutilized Mortal Kombat character. Apparently, come to find out because he was extremely hard to render in the game, so that's why in subsequent games they made him two-legged, which took away what was cool. Yeah, the CGI is bad, but hell, let's play by Malibu from American Gladiators. Come on. Uh, and you get a lot of fights, some of which are fairly cool, like the fight with Baraka, I quite enjoyed. Um, you get to see some cool use of Jax and his cyborg arms, and the whole time he's just trying to. The guy who plays Jax is trying to sound so tough, and he's a big dude with cyborg arms, but it's just his line delivery just doesn't work, and it sounds so cringy. Because some 60-year-old old white dude wrote his dialogue, and it's just doesn't work. And holy shit, we gotta talk about Musetta Vander as Sindel,
Too
who
bad you
delivered
will die.
who delivered that line, that line, and now you will die, which is probably the most famous part that still comes out of this movie because they shot that scene and decided, "Yup, that's it. That's when we're going with." She is terrible in this movie. My wife, who watched it with me because she's a great sport, said she looked like a combination of Elvira and Fran Drescher, and I can't unsee that because yes, that is a very, very accurate description. She's hilariously bad. Uh, there's so much goofy, maniacal laughing in this movie, so much of it, very over the top, and a lot of this is over the top. The hammy acting. Uh, CGI somehow, despite being 2 years newer, is just even worse. Uh, this movie's a thin plotted pile of poorly made bullshit. But I had fun. I can't lie. I'm with you. I will never say this is a good movie or never say you should watch this movie, but you know, it's in no shape, form, or fashion. This movie good, but man, I was entertained. Fun little slice of 1997 pie, and I'll be honest, I've seen pieces of this movies in the year since, but I came to realize I had not watched this movie in its entirety since I watched it with you when we were like 12 or 13.
Same,
Uh,
same.
and I'm glad I'm glad I did. Yeah, you get some fortune cookie wisdom from Raiden, who is played horrendously by James Remar. James Remar was terribly cast in this movie. I like James Remar. I do. Uh, he is he is probably the most disappointing part of this movie because Christopher Lambert was so entertaining, and he's just bad and flat. You don't buy anything he's saying or his look, and especially after he cuts his hair. It's like we don't need Raiden with a crew cut. What kind of stupid shit is that? Um, but he throws some of that fortune cookie wisdom at Jax, where he's like, "Faith is all you need," telling that to Jax because it's like talking like you don't need your cyborg arms. They are fighting monsters from another dimension. I want every edge I can get. Give me guns. I something because I mean they have cyborgs and centaurs and people using weapons, people with multiple limbs, and you're like, oh. You normal squishy human guy, you don't need those awesome cyborg arms that actually give you a fighting chance. And of course, he loses them later in the movie. Um, yeah, it's just some of that bullshit. It's like no, 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 no. Give me. You keep your faith. I'll keep the cyborg arms.
And not only that,
And
but then the sin of bringing back, you resurrect Scorpion and Sub Zero. Kinda. Sub Zero's like, oh no, that was my brother. Uh,
yes,
somewhat cold, not Sub Zero. Um, you bring them back and then just immediately get rid of them.
I know. And somehow I remember Sub Zero or Sub Zero's brother, I guess, being in this movie a lot more than he was. And he's
Same.
barely in it. that kind of confused me. Also, I got an important question to ask. Is all this happening because Shao Kahn has daddy issues?
Yeah.
Because he seems to be doing all of this to impress his dad. That's his motivation, which makes him seem like a whiny, maniacal acting daddy's boy. So,
The great,
and I
the
had to reiterate
great
again.
evil outworld emperor who's just like, "Are you proud of me now, Papa?"
Uh, Said in my notes, it's like I had to reiterate. Cinderella's so bad in this movie. She is hilariously bad. It just like I wish I could see footage of her reading for this role to be like, what did you all see? Because that is some of the worst line delivery. We've had better line delivery in the movies we shot in camcorders when we were in high school than this. Way better. Also, towards the end of the movie, there's a blink and you miss it cameo from a very famous pair of buildings. You literally see the Twin Towers at the end of this movie, and it's like,
Yep.
oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I forgot this movie was made before 9/11. So that was a fun little dark Easter egg. Uh, and again, I'll say the CGI is not great, but Motaro does look cool. I love Motaro's design. I would love to see more Motaro and any kind of Mortal Kombat property. Sign me up.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not good. It's downright terrible. One of the worst movies, and yet, man, it was a lot of fun to watch.
Uh, Also, there's a part where Scorpion in a Scorpion voice calls them suckers, and it's just kind of hilarious and completely out of character. Suckers. It's crap, but entertaining crap. And if you need some entertaining crap or a movie that'd be a good drinking game, I'm sure you could create a very fun one on Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
There's a podcast. I don't think they've done it. I wish they would. There's a podcast that was started by AL Cats and one of the other guys, uh, Geiler. Not maybe not Geiler. The two of the guys, two of the group that created Tales from the Crypt, and they created this podcast. It's called How Not to Make a Movie, and it was essentially the first season of it is essentially their therapy session of telling how Bordello of Blood became Bordello of Blood, all the terrible things that happened to make that movie. Um, and I'm like, I want that for this because there are so many questions at the end of this movie where you're just there has to be answers somewhere about what led to this, and I want them.
I do too. I Sign me up for a Mortal Kombat Annihilation documentary. I find the stories behind movies like this dramatic and it's like or just amazing. And I just where did all that extra money go? Probably right up their nose through a cocaine straw.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't in the CGI or the acting. Holy shit. But we get a long hiatus from live action Mortal Kombat movies, and it will be 24 years before we get another live action Mortal Kombat movie. The 2021's Mortal Kombat. Take us away, Jason.
So yeah, 24 years and one pandemic later, because this was one of those movies that got should have been in the theaters and just kind of got thrown out on streaming HBO because it was a Warner Brothers film. And I remember thinking, "Oh boy, here we go. Let's see what we do." Because again, I held that '95 movie in my heart so dear that I'm like, "Well, we're gonna gritty reboot Mortal Kombat. Get out of here." Uh, Directed by Simon McQuaid. Um, this movie it is very good. I will say this. You, but you are here for the beginning, the opening with a live Scorpion and Sub Zero. That the opening in Japan, fantastic. And you're here for the end. Otherwise, it is kind of a weird like don't worry, we're getting the group together for the next movie.
Yes.
However, what they what we are shown to look forward to is so much fun. I love, again, Sub Zero is one of my guys. Love Sub Zero. I love that they make him kind of. I mean, you have Shang Tsung, but he is the bad guy of the movie. You get cool characters. You get like we finally get Kung Lao. You get what's the Cabal? Characters that are just kind of, you wouldn't think they wouldn't have them in the movie. The biggest problem with this movie is the fact that for whatever reason, the studio said we need you to make a Mortal Kombat movie, but center it around a character not from the games, so that people who go see the movie Mortal Kombat will have an in as to what's going on. And so, while I don't hate the character of Cole, I think the actor, and some of the stuff he does in the movie is great in spite of what they're doing. Because, again, it's a character, in a world of this. How many characters there are in the Mortal Kombat franchise at this point? Because there's been, 800 games? I mean, for God's sakes, there was even a one of the games, they even bring in like the Terminator and Rambo and the Ninja Turtles. Hellboy's in a Mortal Kombat game, for God's sakes. But they're like, no, we need a new character who literally wears plot armor. You can't say that it's not. That's his special power. We take this weird tone of like Mortal Kombat midichlorians. But again, this movie does so much to set up what you should be looking forward to. And for that, I enjoy it, but it is not one I don't think it doesn't hold up to the nostalgia factor of the first movie. It doesn't. It just kind of is just like, it's a setup movie for, hey, cool things are coming. You just gotta wait. Let's introduce these characters. And honestly, what's weird is the fact that they kind of make the most fun character in the whole movie, Kano, who steals this movie.
He does. He does.
Um, Over everybody. Like, Liu Kang's just kind of like hanging in the background behind Kung Lao. Sonya's here, and I will say, the woman who plays Sonya, I really like in this movie. The guy who plays Jax is good, even when he's got those weird little like C-3PO arms. Um, the villains, they give you Goro, and then immediately, you just like, hey, it's Goro. That's gonna be a big part of this. Oh no, okay. Kung Lao really doesn't. Not Kung Lao. Shang Tsung really doesn't do anything.
Nope.
But again, it's this movie. It gives you some of the gore that you want, and again, it's just a movie that's just like, look, we got to get through this, but you are going to be super pumped about what comes next. And so for that, I don't dislike it. I think it was a fine reboot. It's just a weird It's a weird Mortal Kombat-less Mortal Kombat movie. That's just like, hey, what if it was just like the before the combat? Like, what if it was just like them hanging out in the locker room, like getting ready for Mortal Kombat, with a character that you don't know or really have any kind of ties to, but he's your eyes and ears to this movie. I feel like I'm sounding harsher than I want to be, because I do like the movie. It's just, when you look at it, especially watching all these together, it is a real like set up the movie.
It's very much a movie to set. It's very much setting up what comes next. It's setting up characters, and it's setting up kind of some ground rules and some lore. And And I thought, watching it the first time, I really enjoyed it, but it felt a little incomplete as a Mortal Kombat movie because they're missing that, the kind of the stakes of the Mortal Kombat tournament. Um, I could excuse that because I think it's a really fun movie. That's a very creative movie that is it's well cast, a bunch of likable characters, some dazzling visuals, and some awesome fights. Uh, Cole, there are so many characters they could have picked. Why concoct a new one for this movie? It's not a bad character. It's just it is a baffling choice. If you're trying to get people to watch as Mortal Kombat fans, people like us who love the '95 movie, why just make it center on a character who's never been in any game? It's such a bizarre choice. The movie works in spite of that. Because you could have been Kung Lao, could have been Liu Kang. I understand they're wanting to save Johnny Cage for the next movie. You could have had Sonya be the main character. You could have dug deeper. There's all sorts of characters could have been, but no, we got Cole, whose mystical ability is vibranium. It's not called vibranium, but let's be honest, that's exactly what it is. He has the suit that absorbs energy, and you could direct it back. It's vibranium. Uh, but it is such a fun movie. I love that we get. I love a lot of these versions of the characters. The dude who plays Kano, who's also plays a doctor in this sitcom called St. Dennis, he is so great. He is so funny and steals any scene he's in this movie. The villains, I think, are the strongest part of this movie. Shang Tsung, underwhelming, doesn't do enough. I'll give you that. General Reiko, the dude with the big hammer played
Yeah.
by real life gigantic dude Nathan Jones, such a cool looking villain. Natara, who is a literal like vampire flying, is such a cool addition. Uh, we get a smoke. This dude is like a burn victim slash cyborg. I think looks cool. I love he has like the voice modulator and stuff. And this hook swords looks awesome. But the character that I think is the greatest part of this movie is Sub Zero. Sub Zero is amazing. And you get to see in that beginning where it's kind of setting it up in the fight between Sub Zero and Scorpion before they're those uh, fully embrace those characters. Uh, awesome opening, amazing opening, best opening of any of these movies. But Sub Zero's abilities are done in such a cool manner, and Sub Zero is such a massive, overwhelming threat. And he's so creative in how he uses his freezing abilities. And he's terrifying. They made an utterly terrifying, ruthless version of Sub Zero, and the movie is the better for it. There's a scene where he's fighting someone, and I can't remember if he gets cut or the person gets cut. The blood's midair. He freezes the blood, then uses it as a knife, and it was such a cool moment. There's another one. He freezes the character's arms and breaks him off. It's just he's cruel, he's vicious, and this is a guy who spent a lot of time and thought into honing these abilities and becoming the most dangerous individual he can be. Just a terrifying dude. And man, I watching it again, I was just blown away about how well they did with that character and how cool they made him. Uh Kung Lao, with his hat, they did such a great job with that. There's one fatality in particular, which is just awesome. And there's so many moments of this movie where it's just gnarly and awesome. Jax done fantastically. I love the scene where he gets his arms upgraded. That is so cool. And I really like how he plays Jax. I really like how most of the characters here are played. Uh, Although I found it odd that Liu Kang gets so little focus in this movie, given the fact he's such a central part. You get to see him a lot more in the next one, and then in Mortal Kombat 2, and that makes sense. Uh, and Raiden, we get a very, I think, video game accurate Raiden here, and looks the part, sounds the part, so well done. Really loved how Raiden was pulled off. But at the end of the day, does this movie feels incomplete? This feels like, it feels like setting up for the main event. In that, I think it does well. I think it does well establishing this world, establishing these rules. It just feels like it's missing a little something, and I think it is. Overall, though, I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
It turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It's entertaining. The fights are cool. It does justice to the majority of the characters. Uh, Goro looks great in it, although I think has way too little screen time in this movie, but the fight they did give him was a really cool one, and it was. I'm glad it was a good return to form. This movie could have been complete and utter crap, and it was a really fun time.
Yeah, I mean the opening of the movie and the final fight, like that's enough to warrant tickets. Like it's that final Scorpion Sub Zero fight is fantastic.
Amazing.
And like you said, I like all the characters. It's just so funny. It just feels like what's the show on HBO where like they like go into the off season of football teams and like they're like prepping to get ready for the season. It just feels like that for a little while. But yeah, the villains are the strongest part. Um, but yeah, especially because he does nothing. Why not make Liu Kang that character? Have it be Liu Kang. Or why? I don't understand the inclusion of Cole. And again, yeah, like you said, I joke he basically wears plot armor as his special combat. What do they call it in the movie? I know they don't mention it at all in the second movie. But
Arcana.
yeah, like it's the only way we can get that symbol in this fucking movie.
It's yeah. A lot of people weren't fond of them. The mystical midichlorians, the Arcana, having to do things to find your special power to kind of explain why these humans and otherworldly creatures have these crazy abilities like bladed hats or the ability to shoot fireballs. Let me tell you about the fireballs. Um, you know, Kano shows up and they're at the temple. I love it when people have realistic reactions to what are incredibly crazy situations, and his reaction to seeing Liu Kang use a fireball is like, that's how somebody would really react if they saw something that crazy. It's like,
Yeah.
did that dude just shoot a fireball? There's some bonkers insanity going on here, and it's nice to see a character recognize how crazy the situation is. I'd recommend Mortal Kombat 2021. They're watch it back to back with the Mortal Kombat 2. Uh, yeah, it was a fun time, but it was the appetizer for the main course.
Yep.
Any
So
other
we
thoughts on Mortal Kombat 2021?
no, it's like you said, it's all led up to where we're going right now. So take it away.
So we pick up, you know, a lot has happened. Uh, this time around, we're following Johnny Cage, played very well, I believe, by the great Carl Urban. Now, Johnny Cage here is a washed up 90s action star doing the convention circuit, uh, drives his 90s Mustang, and it's just kind of drinks at the bar. And then one day, Raiden shows up at a parking garage and tells him, hey, you have been chosen to be one of the champions of Earth to fight in Mortal Kombat. He and Sonya take Johnny back to the temple, and he again has a realistic reaction to see people using literal crazy magic powers. And he's just like, fuck that, I'm out. Doesn't want any part of it, wants to go back to drinking. But fate intervenes, and he is entered into the tournament. And Because when the elder gods call upon you, you're going to answer whether you want to or not. This time around, we have some characters returning, some characters resurrected, because there's a straight up necromancer in this movie, and his name escapes me, and I am sorry for that. Uh, this is the movie where you get the fighting tournament. This is the movie where shit gets real and the stakes are high. And you get to have Johnny Cage. You get to be there with Johnny Cage as he's got a front row seat to all of this and tries to, dig deep and become the champion that Earth needs. And we get an awesome assortment of fights that really, I think, channel the video games very well. And that's what we're here for. We're watching Mortal Kombat. We're here to see these characters and we're here to see the fights. And I must say, I think Mortal Kombat 2 delivers on both fronts.
No, I agree. I think that it corrects a lot of the Quan Chi. Thank you. God, my brain
Yes.
was just shut off. Um, it corrects a lot of the missteps from the first movie. Um, I well, I'll do this first because I'm gonna play devil's advocate here in a little bit. Um, I loved. There's so much of this movie that I love. I love. We were watching the theater and Amber was like, "Oh, what got me was her attention to where we're having the fights at. Like the Shao Kahn Cole fight. Spoilers. Don't worry about that new character we set up. Um, turns out plot armor can't protect your face. Um, that arena where Sonya fights Sindel. All these great locations look like they're clipped out of the games. Um, I think honestly, my favorite part of this movie, hands down, is the Johnny Cage Baraka fight. I think it's, I think it's absolutely perfect and encapsulates everything you wanted from this movie. I love the fact that we do kind of bring back Sub Zero, although now he's Noob Saibot. Um, the stuff in Hell, they know where their bread's better because they're like, we got Johnny Cage. He's a fan favorite from the games, but people really loved Kano from the last movie. What if we put them together in a semi buddy cop movie for a little while? I love the look of Shao Kahn. He's absolutely terrifying in this movie. Um, I do have some nitpicky stuff I will get into here in a little bit, but um, overall, as a sequel, it delivers on what that first movie set up uh, perfectly. It was an absolute blast to watch.
We have some cool flashbacks, kind of seeing we have a really cool fight between Shao Kahn and Katana's father. That is probably the most underrated fight in this movie. I don't. It's one I don't hear people talking about when referencing this movie, and it is such a cool fight, setting up how Katana comes under Shao Kahn's care. Shao Kahn, right, terrifying. He keeps his mask on through almost the entire movie, as he should. Those crazy demonic red eyes, that helmet just look awesome. And the dude wields that hammer so well. And he's such an overwhelming force when he fights. I mean, it's like dropping the hammer, picking it up midair, and going at it. Uh, he seems like he would be utterly terrifying to have to battle against, even without his extra enhancements he gets in the movie. Um, getting to, you see Johnny Cage fighting uh, Katana, and he's kind of thrust into this fight, and he is not ready, and it shows. And he's trying to kind of talk his way out of it, and completely ineffectively. Um, Again, I really like how Jax is done in this movie. They really do a lot with his robot arms, and it makes for some really cool fight scenes. They Jackson's a character. I mean, big dude, buff dude with cyborg arms. Could have been really cheesy, or could have been, a very brief side character. They actually do something with them, and I'm a sucker for cyborgs and robot pieces on people. It looks so cool. And it's like at one point he's getting literally disarmed, and that's just but he's still fighting. You feel the desperation in that fight, and these fights seem brutal and exhausting and crazy. Uh, I must say, said spoiler alert. What happened to Cole seemed personal. Holy shit! Uh, they listened to people's complaints about Cole, and they dealt with it as harshly as possible. But it's kind
That
of hilarious.
that moment where he's like all weird to Johnny Cage. He's like, you know what I did? I told my wife and kid that I love him, and even though I may never see them again. I was like, well, yeah, clearly he's going to die. I just did not expect it to be as brutal as the fuck you as it is.
It's just like, hey, you didn't like Cole? Well, fuck that guy. He's gone. But beginning to end, I was always entertained by this movie. It was such a fun ride, such visually awesome. You come here for fights to watch these characters battle out and use their abilities, and it delivers. Uh, the fights are just bangers. I'm with you. I love the Johnny Cage Baraka fight. Baraka I always thought was such a cool character. I love the idea of that race of people, the Tarkans, afflicted with this illness that makes them more bestial and eventually feral. Baraka looks amazing in this movie. It's like jagged, toothy maw, and his bony sword protrusions that he can fire just looks so cool. Uh, and their whole village, and you seeing even the children. It's some great little pieces of world building and getting to see these people who are kind of, under the thumb of Shao Kahn and his tyrannical rule. Uh, Sonya, I mean, the one that got to play Sonya looks the part, acts the part. They nail her character, and that's just what I feel in these movies. Um, I think they do a good job of displaying the characters. I'm not all up on the latest Mortal Kombat games or the lore, but from what I understand, I think they did a pretty great job, and I'm glad they pulled the focus back to a legacy Mortal Kombat character. Mortal Kombat 2021 was fun and incomplete. Mortal Kombat 2, it delivers. This is the kind of the Mortal Kombat movie we've been waiting for since 1995.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't quite usurp 1995 just because that movie holds such a special place in my heart. But damn, Mortal Kombat 2 is such a fun ride. I can't recommend it enough. I had a blast.
Yeah. Now, the last Mortal Kombat game I sat and played from beginning to end uh, was one Shaw came up when I was in college, and we were playing Mortal Kombat at Lee's house, and he'd rented it, and it was like, well, you guys can play it, but you have to drink all this, get rid of the old beer in the fridge. So we just stopped drinking old skank beer and playing the game. And the most memorable part of that game is the fact that as a bonus, because on the original Xbox, as a bonus, you could watch the sick music video for Adima's Unstable.
That's a throwback.
Yeah. Okay, so I did like this movie a lot. I super loved it a lot. I I don't know if where my brain what happened. I have some nitpicks I want to just get out of the way, and we'll kind of have devil's advocate here for a little while. Number one, and this isn't just this movie. This is every movie in this entire franchise. I'm like you, Logan. I love Raiden. Raiden is an awesome character. And while the actor who plays Raiden in both these movies is fantastic, all four of these movies are guilty, guilty, guilty of underutilizing the Raiden character. I want to see the God of Thunder fight. And especially in this movie where they kind of Zord on him from the Power Rangers live action movie from the 90s. Uh,
Accurate.
where he's just like there. Uh, I feel like there's a lot. This movie does have the fighting in it, but I feel like some of these fights are rushed to get to the MacGuffin, which is he's got the special thing. We got to get the crystal and break it so that he can be mortal and we can fight him. Um, and to me, where that's the most egregious is the Kung Lao Liu Kang fight. Like that should be one of the biggest parts of the movie. And I feel
Agreed.
like it just kind of like is like, all right, here they are, and go. And like we're just watching. Okay, that's enough of that. We got to get on. Um, this is just me being an ass. So a major part of the story is Katana, who's a big part of uh stopping Shao Kahn, is taken, and Scoob and the gang have to find a way to get into uh Shao Kahn's castle to free her. Which is also a huge plot point of Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I was like, that wasn't lost on me. Um, and then the part, like again, Liu Kang could have been the Cole character. We finally get to Liu Kang in this movie. He has like the quick fight with Kung Lao, and then he's just needed on his other home planet, and so he just deuces out of this movie. But I love the stuff with Johnny Cage. To me, Johnny Cage is the best part of this movie. And I know that there was a lot of like Carl Urban, he's too old. The way they write that into this iteration of Johnny Cage is perfect. And everything with him is great. Um, again, it's a lot of nitpicky stuff. But it was that some of it all just made me laugh sitting there thinking about it. Um, but yeah, just some of the little stuff. But overall, like you. I enjoyed it. It doesn't surpass 95 because that's just a movie that's gonna live in my heart forever. But as far as like a modern Mortal Kombat movie, it delivers on everything it promises.
I believe it does. It's cool. The NetherRealm fight with Noob Saibot is cool. You know, that's Sub Zero. I think it's the best part of Mortal Kombat 2021, and you know, resurrected as Noob Saibot with these shadow abilities and this cool sword. I I love what they did with that, and it's nice that they mixed it up some, and he's still a terrifying, intimidating enemy. Uh, as they're clashing in the underworld trying to take control of this amulet. Uh, I'd say your criticisms have a lot of merit. Um, and some of the, especially Liu Kang, Kung Lao, that one should have felt like had more stakes and like a bigger deal than it was, given how the emphasis they put on the relationship of the first movie, and I mean, Revenant Kung Lao, great, great idea for somebody on the villainous side. Uh, and the fight was good, but it should have been like one of the high points of the movie, and it kind of feels more like it doesn't feel big enough.
Yeah.
Um, but they packed a lot of action in this movie. They packed a lot of characters uh, without doing like Mortal Kombat Annihilation did, which is here's this character, watch us do nothing with them.
Yep.
It's just a lot of fun. It's a big, fun popcorn movie with some fantastic visuals and well cast too. It's like I don't recognize the guy who plays Liu Kang, but I really like him in that role. Uh, the guy who plays Kano is unconventional choice. And the women who play Katana and Jade again, I don't recognize them, but they look the part, they act the part. I think those two do so well. Jade fight with Jax is great and a lot of fun, and you get to see both of their strengths and that kind of clash of styles in that battle. Uh, as far as video game adaptations, This is way up there.
Yeah, I even love how they bring back Scorpion because he's just in hell, and then they're like, "Hey, Scorpion, we need your help," and he's like, "My name's Bennett, and I ain't in it," and they're like, "Yeah, but Sub Zero's back," and he's like, "Say less."
It's like, let's do this thing. Uh,
um,
I love how they I love how they did Scorpion and in these two newer movies. Uh, again, I'm not sure how game accurate he is, but I love how they played him in the movies. The guy who plays Scorpion is just he's a fantastic actor anyway. His name's escaping to look it up. Um
it's Hiroki Sanada.
Yuki Sanada.
Yep.
Fantastic. Uh this is a lot of iconic characters to cast in a movie, and I don't much of the way complaints about the people they cast. I think they did a bang up job. Uh I don't know what I don't know where things are gonna go after this, if we're gonna make any more. I imagine we'll probably get another one. If not, they put out 2 bangers. If we get another one, I hope it doesn't go the way of Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
So there is going to be a third one. It's supposed to be a trilogy. There's supposed to be one before the tournament, one before Mortal Kombat, one during Mortal Kombat, and then one after Mortal Kombat. So I'm assuming again, 95 is the only one that gives you a fighting tournament. My last two little gripes here. Um, Maybe it's because I don't remember the games as much. I know Shao Kahn is the big name, but for me, the bad guy of Mortal Kombat is Shang Tsung because of the actor who plays Shang Tsung in
Yes.
'95. Man, he is relegated to sea level in this movie where he's like the Shredder in that second Ninja Turtle Michael Bay movie, where he's just like, oh yes, yes, my lord. Um, and then it was a moment where I was totally in the movie. I was having a blast. It's one of those things where you kind of like the Sindel line where you want them to be like, cut. Hang on. Let's try this again. And it's the scene at the end where uh, the actor who plays Kano is wearing the fakest beard you've ever seen in a movie. All I could think about was you, and like all he needs is like charcoal and like lighter fluid to make a more real looking beard than what's in this movie.
Love that reference. Well, Chris, especially the Shang Tsung. It feels like he is way underutilized in both these movies, and I'm kind of confused as to why. Because man, Mortal Kombat '95, he is played so well, and he is such an awesome villain. You know, line delivery and everything. You know, it has begun. Oh, iconic. So, they do justice Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung, definitely
Yeah.
underwhelming. All these things though, and it's like I I don't think any of these criticisms really sink it or affect it in a major
No,
way.
not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It's just fun to kind of be like, hmm.
You know, and agreed, they're all accurate. But I had a fun time. I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I'll definitely go see it. Uh, this was a lot of fun going through and watching these movies. Man, it took me back, and just remembering the playground talk about Mortal Kombat, watching Mortal Kombat 95 with friends on VHS back in the day. Uh, the newer movies kind of recapturing some of that 90s nostalgia while modernizing it and making it a pretty damn solid pair of movies.
Yeah. No. Again, even with these four movies, even The quote unquote bad one was a lot of fun to revisit. Um, yeah, it's just, and honestly, because of how well these last two Mortal Kombat movies, I look at something upcoming like the Street Fighter movie with hope. Whereas before Mortal Kombat 2021, I'd have been like, I don't know. But
Okay.
I'm excited for what they're going to do with Mortal Kombat. Like I said, I'm not a I haven't played a game since New Metal was a thing, but clearly, go Spotify that song. That's a banger of a New Metal song, man. Um, but no, this was a lot of fun.
Watching Mortal Kombat 2021, I hopped on the PlayStation Plus and downloaded Mortal Kombat 1, which is confusingly one of the newer games. And I'm going to give that a shot. I'm terrible at fighting games, but man, I want to jump into that world again and see some of the craziness and insanity in it. And that, and if a video game adaptation can make you want to jump back into that world, I'd say it's succeeded to a pretty big degree. And these movies do.
Absolutely.
All four of the movies, uh, the live action movies, I think are all worth watching in their own way. Even Annihilation, as cheesy as it is, I think is still a fun time. I'm old enough to kind of appreciate just the pure absolute absurdity and cheesiness of it.
Get
Uh,
some buds, get some brews. Y'all hang out, and make fun of it. You'll have a blast.
it's a great great movie to watch with a group of friends. But that's the Mortal Kombat franchise. Give them a watch. We had a good time. I had a great time talking about these.
Oh yeah.
And just a lot of fun remembering that birthday party where we watched Annihilation, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, watching the OG movie. This is a franchise where we have a deep personal connection to it. I know people in our audience do, because they're close in age to us. I know Ami absolutely adores Mortal Kombat 95. We've talked about it many times, and it's such a special movie for us. And that's why it's like said, love Mortal Kombat 2. It just it can't top Mortal Kombat 95.
Agreed. And it's not even Paul W.S. Anderson's best movie. Because I love No. But that's going to do it for Mortal Kombat. We have finally finished. And it was a flawless victory. But, as Sonny and Cher said, because there's a reference that that's way past our age, that's a reference for our grandparents. The beat goes on. Because, again, we do these live hangouts every single month. Next month, we are doing Walter Hill. We're going to cover 6 Walter Hill movies. I won't give you the lineup just yet, but just know that we are watching 6. It's gonna be a good time. Um, a good time. So, uh, I'll probably put that out a little bit later because they're definitely movies. A lot of these are going to be first time watches for me. A few of them anyway, and other ones I have not seen since probably high school. Um, so it's going to be very very interesting. And then again, every single week, every single Sunday, new movie reviews go up every Sunday, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tomorrow, will go up my review of the new A24 horror movie. Yet another new horror film coming from YouTube, Backrooms. So I'll have my review up of that. It is spoiler free, so make sure you check it out. And then, of course, when Nick gets the chance to post theater clarities for those hot, fresh takes. I'll just plug it now because what better place to plug it than at the end of a Mortal Kombat live. Not done on purpose, by the way, but We're a few months out from our next theme review month, which is where I kind of take a break from what's playing each week at the Cinemaplex and do a theme month. And so our summer block party, which is in August, the theme this year is Beat the Heat. And we are going to be talking about 4 fighting tournament movies. We're
Hell yeah.
talking Kickboxer, Best of the Best, The Last Kumite, and Heat Seeker.
Ooh,
So it's gonna.
what a
You
lineup.
better put on your ninja pants and you better oil up, boys, because we're gonna have a hot, hot fighting summer in August. But other than that, again, next month we're doing Walter Hill. We've got the Evil Dead franchise coming up this summer. Now the Evil Dead Burns coming out. A big one. Speaking of, we're gonna traipse on right back into Paul W.S. Anderson territory for a big one this fall, where we do the Resident Evil franchise and the lead up to the
Ooh.
new Zach Kreger movie. Just a lot of cool stuff on the horizon. And again, we're 29 subs away from hitting that triple digit goal. Um, and, again, I think we hit that goal, we'll do something special, do it live. Actually, would be kind of fun to talk about. Um, just stuff from, because Nick and I have known each other now going on 30 plus years.
Ooh.
Um,
Well, we're getting
a
old.
little over, yeah. And then when you started talking about watching Mortal Kombat Annihilation at my birthday party, I had like this weird like memory flood back. We watched a lot of terrible movies at my birthdays.
You are not wrong.
There was a
It was,
Batman and Robin birthday. There was a Mars Attacks birthday.
and you know what? I wouldn't trade him for anything. Man, we had some fun at your birthday sleepovers, watching all manners of movies and playing games. It was
Yeah.
fantastic.
So if you want to hear more fun, insane stories, because trust me, Nick and I could fill up hours and hours of insane stories from us growing up together. Maybe we'll do that for a special live if we hit that triple digit. So help us get there. Make sure we're subscribing, doing everything to appease the YouTube Eldritch Lords. And until that's all I've got. You have anything else before we get out of here?
I just have to mention RIP to our hometown video store, 2001 Video,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
in the last month closed down, making it, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 37 years. I believe they opened in 89, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong. Not closing their doors till 2026. It's a place, it is one of the most important places in Jason and I's childhood. We spent so many times the aisles there renting movies. They had a fantastic run, and we have so many memories of our times there. Uh, we might think about doing a kind of retrospective where we talk about the video store days and our experiences there at
oh
some
yeah,
point. But I'd say I was pretty sad for a few days after I got news of that, even though I mean it was inevitable, and it lasting up 2026 was honestly impressive. Uh, but that little piece of us, that little piece of our childhood finally rode off to the sunset. So,
yeah,
R.I.P. 2001 Video, and I must thank you to Susan Allen, who managed it for decades, for hooking us young movie lovers up with a lot of cool movies, recommending stuff, and at times even buying movies specifically with us in mind,
yep,
so we'd rent them. Out of that Death Factory,
yeah,
among others.
and and many
But
a times looking the other way when we were renting movies.
of course. Uh, Otherwise, though, I'm pumped for next month. Walt, this might be my most highly and heavily anticipated movie episode of the year is the Walter Hill episode. I think it's going to be killer, and I can't wait to talk about those movies. Check in. I'll have Posting to Clarity dropping this Wednesday, and yeah, had a great time as always, pal.
Absolutely. So all of you, make sure you end the night responsibly, whether that's with a friendship or a babality. But otherwise, we will see you guys next month. Bye.
Later, guys.